Okay guys, so once again I'm down in my crawl space. The problem I had is my water stopped running this morning. And the first thing I thought, of course, water pipe froze. But I just built and installed this guy that sends me a text and an email whenever it gets below freezing down here. And it's nowhere near below freezing, even though it's a couple degrees below outside Fahrenheit. In here it's about 40, 50 degrees, I think. And I mean, I can tell it's not below freezing down here. So it wasn't a water pipe. What it was the pressure switch here. So that is the pressure switch with the cover removed. Now if I turn it on, there's a light switch up top that turns this on and off. That should engage because that is empty. Now this is a do not try at home kind of thing, but with an insulated screwdriver, if I just push these contacts, the pump kicks on. Can't hear the pump, but here's the thing. I actually want that off because we're about to change this out. First thing we've got to do is drain the entire system of water. Now I've already had the water running upstairs. However, I need it at the lowest point, or at least below the point of the pressure switch. Unfortunately, my water hoses are buried in the snow outside. So if I just open this up, yeah, it's just gonna, it's a dirt basement anyway. I'm gonna let that drain. Let's verify that with that switch off, we have no electricity. And it's beeping to tell me that the battery's low, but either way, I've already verified that when that switch is off, yeah, I'd be screaming right now if it weren't. So the first thing I'm going to do is disconnect the electrical. So these switches typically work like this. You have two sets of contacts. On the left, you have two screw terminals that become connected when the switch engages. On the right, you have another set. This is done so that you can use either 240 volt pole to pole or 120 volt pole to neutral, depending on the requirements of your particular pump. So we're going to do an unboxing of a pressure switch. Now I went with the same brand, same model, the Square D. It doesn't really have to be the same. There were other brands. I figured why not go with the same. But what I'm looking for is, it cuts it on at 40 PSI and shuts it off at 60. So I guessed right. So all I'm going to do is take the ring off of this and pull this whole mess out. It's a lot easier if you get all these wires kind of together, the ground, the neutral, and the hot. This is our incoming, and it comes from that light switch right there. That is our pump control. Let's get the wires from the pump out in exactly the same way. Spin off the little nut. I'll get you in closer when we put the new one in so you can really kind of see what's going on here. Oh, and there is a ground wire on there as well. Not a lot of room down here, sort of a half basement kind of thing. Let's get that ground wire loose and off and not lose that ring. So there's our other ring. So that takes care of the electrical. The water pump is now disconnected. Now the fun part, getting this guy off. It is NTP threaded, NTP or NPT. I don't know, I'm not a plumber. All I know is it basically means it gets tighter as you go further down. So you just rotate. Oh no, it's coming out down there. What's happening, focus, the whole pipe is unthreading from down there, and I did not want that. I am gonna have to go grab a pipe wrench to hold that while I loosen that nut. Or better yet, why don't I just take the whole thing out, then do that. So we're gonna take this whole thing out with its little threaded pipe. I have no idea what kind of fitting that is. It almost looks like they just drilled a hole in the T. Is that standard? I don't know, any plumbers out there, let me know if that's standard. Just like thread a hole in a glued together T. So I'm gonna go inside, take that off, put it on the new one, and then we'll commence wiring. So meanwhile, I'll let that piss the rest of that water out. There are a couple of very important steps we're going to cover here in a few minutes too, so make sure you stick around. Okay, I'm in the house real quick. I'm going to try and keep this in frame, but small pipe wrench, just tighten her up a little bit, and with that we'll take our regular crescent. So with that we can break these two apart, and that's a piece of ice. That is a little piece of ice. Maybe I need to move my temperature sensor a little lower in the basement. I'm gonna clean this up and I'm gonna meet you back downstairs. I was a little baffled that there's actually ice inside the old pressure switch, which tells me I should put my temperature monitor down here. We're gonna thread that right back in where it was, and I'm definitely not gonna over tighten this because that's going into freaking plastic. Again, any plumbers out there that can tell me if this is standard procedure or not, I don't know. That just seems weird to me. Looks like they drilled a hole and threaded it. Tapped it out. Go one more full turn. It kind of looks like they put some kind of silicone on that. All right, that's feeling tight, and I feel if I go any tighter, it's gonna be a problem. And we're gonna get the electrical. So let's start with the incoming. These are a pain. Get that in there good and snug, and then good enough. So we'll start with our ground wire. We're just going to unscrew that a bit, get the needle nose, and get that wrapped always clockwise. So as you tighten the screw, you're turning it the same way that you wrap the wire. And tighten her down. No need to over tighten on these. Now I'm going to go ahead and loosen all the screws so it'll be easier here. So let's put our cold, let's do it the same way they had it, our cold on this side. For electrical, I tend to use a flat blade whenever it is a choice of Phillips or flat, because Phillips likes to slip. So we'll put our feeds on the outside, let's just say. There's even a little bit of ice on the end of this ground wire here. That concerns me a little bit. See if I can push this out around that. Oh boy. Yeah, it's a little tight. Okay, that's in. Slip our ring nut. I'm sure there's a better word for that, but it's a nut and it's circular. Get that on there. And what I like to do is kind of twist it that way, if possible. Get it tight, and then I can tighten her up that way. So, black to black. And they are using red as neutral. I made a note of that when taking the old one apart. Let's get the ground wire. Now, I'm going to test this first by shutting off my drain valve here. Double check my wiring, black to black. They're using red for neutral, but neutral to neutral. Let's flip the switch. Pump should just come on. You probably won't even hear it. Now you hear the water. And I do have a sink open upstairs. So with that, we put our little protective cover on, tighten this little nut, and that is basically it. But there is one other thing we need to do before we pressurize this. Let's go ahead and drain out what little we already, right onto my feet. Let me zoom out a little. See, there is another step here, because inside that pressure tank, there is at the top a regular old Schrader valve, much like what you would find on a tire. And somewhere in here, it should specify how much pressure you need in there when it's empty. I may have to pause and Google this. Okay, super quick lesson here. Water itself cannot be compressed. So pressure tanks utilize a rubber bladder filled with air. So when you fill the tank with water, you're actually compressing that air bladder. As you use the water, the bladder expands and the pressure goes down. Pumping water back into the tank then compresses the bladder again. For everything to work correctly, you need to maintain the correct pressure in the bladder when the tank is empty. Generally speaking, that should be about 2 psi below the point at which your pressure switch will turn on. Since I can't find any specs on this particular tank, I'm going to play it a little safe and keep it around 30. The internet saying it should be pressurized at 38 psi. That sounds like a lot, and I just replaced this about 2 years ago. I'm going to use my Ryobi tire inflator. It's at 25, Let's get it up to 30 and decide from there. Can you see that? There we go. This could take a while. And on this, you do have to let go to get the actual pressure. So you have to measure it without the pump running, the inflator running. And most websites recommend 28. So I'm gonna stop right here at 28. Put the protective cap back in place. And that should be the end of it. I'm gonna shut this drain valve off. Now we are pressurizing. Actually, my kitchen sink is just pouring water, but that's okay. But one of the takeaways is that, well, I think I need to relocate my little ESP01 based temperature thingy. Sends me a text and an email when it gets below freezing. So I think I'm gonna repurpose this orange cord and put it down here somewhere. I mean, not right next to the water, but let me do that real quick. I've come to realize that having the temperature sensor directly underneath my floor to my house, it's about 20 degrees warmer up there than it is down here by the pipes. So I've relocated it. First, I just tied an extension cord around the electrical cable there and let it hang. But then I decided to go ahead and wedge it in between these blocks of wood so that it's a little bit further away from the actual water and should more accurately represent the ambient air temperature near my water pipes. So with all that out of the way, I want to thank you for watching, especially all the way to the end here. Please subscribe if you like these types of videos and hit that thumbs up if you like this one. We'll see you next time.